this morning, as you say, Cameco quarterly, Tim Gitzel came out and said, he said quite a bit, but the big thing that people will be talking about is the reopening of Cigar Lake in September, or restarting of Cigar Lake in September. And obviously it'll take a while to ramp up, but I think the general reaction so far, it's only been a few hours, has been quite negative. I think people would like Kazatomprom, to continue to remain shut down. They would like Cameco, who shut down for the right reasons and said that they would reopen for the right reasons, different reasons, but the right reasons, i.e., we need to either sweep up inventory in the market, spare inventory in the marketplace, and we need the price to get back to where it should be for us, all of us, to be able to mine and produce economically. So why would they not take this opportunity to reinforce that message? Why open up so quickly?
Let me say here, I have a lot of respect for Cameco as a company. They are the bellwether in our industry. I mean, as I used to say about IBM, they're not the market, they're the environment. In some ways, while that really is Kazakhstan, Cameco is in the commercial markets. So what they do matters. And I think that this morning's announcement took the market by surprise, because it is absolutely inconsistent with market pronouncements that they've made over the last 2 years. Since they shut down McArthur River, they stated very straightforwardly, Tim Gitzel did, that they were basically taking a page out of the ConverDyn playbook, where we're going to go out there, we're going to soak up as much material as we possibly can out in the marketplace, and we're going to announce appropriate shutdowns. And then so that was more than 2 years ago with McArthur River. And with Cigar Lake, that was earlier in the year, and they attributed it at the time to coronavirus, COVID, and said that they felt that it was a good opportunity to do exactly what ConverDyn had done, and that is really soak up excess inventory and secondary supply in the marketplace, and to bring the market back into equilibrium. And I think everybody applauded those comments. And we were really starting to see some movements, seeing some strength in the space over the course of the last couple of weeks, particularly as the, let's just say, uncertainty regarding Kazatomprom and what their actions would be in the months ahead has arisen. And I thought that Riaz spoke to those quite eloquently when he was on your program. So this is something that really is a bit confounding from the standpoint that, wait a minute, you said that you were going to do these very good things. Now you come out and you're telling me you're going to ramp up. They had some very light contingency language in there saying, well, this could be coronavirus contingent, but why they would make a comment that would knock down their own stock by 15%, I really, that baffles any commercial or market player.
But that's the arbitrage between the ethics, because there's people involved here. There's people. Sure, I know people are fully covered, etc. But they're trying to run a commercial business. We don't know what conversations they've been having with utilities from around the world. Again, Tim was skirted around where they might be, but there's obviously conversations going on in the terms of those contracts. It might be good news for the industry.
Well, I think that it might be as well, and I think that this once again depends on who you believe. You and I've talked about this. I mean, is it the very small deficit that UX believes that it is? Is it the 35 plus million pounds that Mike Halpin believes it is with his analysis? Now, there's a big disparity there. Who's correct? Well, I think that's hard to say, because most of us don't do the kind of deep dive that those guys do in terms of analyzing the industry. You guys certainly do a very good job of it. You get everybody on there that's relevant, and you get a lot of different viewpoints. These guys really tear apart the numbers. Frankly, I hate to confess it, but I don't do that. I run a uranium company. I've always wanted to be a primary supplier to the domestic industry here in the United States, and that's the business model. I didn't want to be anything beyond that. These guys really dive much deeper. So who's correct? How deep is the deficit this year? Well, we do know that right now, at least 46 million pounds will come out of the market in 2020. We do know that the targets for primary supply in the market are somewhere in the 110 to 120 million range, down from 138 million last year. So some of that maybe gets made up, some of it doesn't. But if you're down around those numbers, we do know that consumption is going to be upwards of 180 million pounds. That's a very large delta there. There's a very large differential there. So how is it made up? We know that you can't make up the entire amount with secondary supply and underfeeding. So there is going to be a deficit in the market. How large that deficit is, we simply don't know. So we'll have to wait to see some of these things play out. I personally would have liked to have seen Cameco simply do what they said they were going to do, and that is really be a force for good and help this market regain its equilibrium once again. I can't explain this really.